Coming up, the latest from the state legislature. And even though the holidays are behind us, there are still folks out there who need our help. This and more coming up. Hello, I'm Sam Jones. Did you know that if it hadn't been for the unexpected actions of a bull back in 1904, Will Rogers might not have accomplished all that he did during his lifetime? There's no video of the incident with the bull, but it was recreated in a 1952 Warner Brothers film entitled The Story of Will Rogers. Will Rogers Jr. played the lead. Back in 1904, Will Sr. was trying his roping skills on the vaudeville circuit. The crowds were amazed that anybody could handle a rope the way Will did, and everywhere he played his act was a hit. But during a stop at New York's Madison Square Garden, a wild steer broke out of a holding chute and began to climb into the viewing stands. Being a good cowboy, Will sprang into action. He roped the steer to the delight and astonishment of the crowd. That single act got front-page attention in the newspapers and gave Rogers great publicity. It also produced a national audience wanting more. Will went on to perform his vaudeville act without the bull on Broadway, but Hollywood had already noticed. And a few years later, Samuel Goldwyn signed him to the title role in a movie titled Laughing Bill Hyde. A 3-year contract with Goldwyn, at triple his Broadway salary, followed, and by 1929 he was ranked a top money-making movie star. That's the same 1929 when the stock market collapsed and the country went belly up. But Will was hot as a $2 pistol. His syndicated newspaper column in the New York Times, Will Rogers Says, was reaching 40 million newspaper readers. Radio was next, and he became a star there as well. So, you might ask, why am I bringing all this up? Because Will Rogers had a passport. He had to have one because his travels took him all over the world. Now, this was long before terrorism hit our shores. Today, terrorism is a real threat, and the federal government says all Americans now need what's called a real ID. Well, sir, the folks in the state legislature that wear those little tinfoil hats decided the feds wanted too much information in their real ID applications, so they refused to go along. Superstition and ignorance won out. Guess they hadn't heard about the internet, where it takes about 10 minutes to learn everything about everybody. Oh, you still need a passport to go from the United States to another country and back, but if the state legislature doesn't put on its big boy pants and get with the Real ID program, you'll need a passport to get into a federal building or board a commercial plane. They have until this summer to get with the program, and they claim they're going to get it done. We'll see. Back when Will Rogers got a passport, you applied one day, got your passport the next day. Now it takes 2 to 3 weeks. Well, it's going to be interesting to see if the tinfoil hats will continue to hold us back, or if we now have enough adults in the legislature to get the Real ID passed. And that's my perspective. Up next, he's a member of the legislature, and we're going to be talking about shortages when we come back.